Apple TV's Pluribus has given fans a character that is both unusual and surprisingly relatable in a world that seems overwhelmingly happy. The central figure, Carol Sturka, is a novelist who ends up carrying the burden of saving everyone else from falling into what looks like a trap of endless joy. The series starts in a surprising way, instantly putting Carol in a position that nobody expected, making her an unlikely hero. Her grumpy, sarcastic, and often negative personality contrasts sharply with the euphoric state that has overtaken the world, which makes her stand out as a character who is grounded, realistic, and human. Despite the sci-fi premise of the show, Carol is relatable, complex, and flawed, which makes her far more compelling than a typical hero. Vince Gilligan, the creator of Pluribus, is no stranger to crafting memorable characters. He's famous for shows like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, where morally ambiguous anti-heroes like Walter White and Jimmy McGill drew audiences in and made them root for characters who were far from perfect. While he enjoyed the success of these stories, Gilligan admitted that he started feeling tired of constantly focusing on bad guys. He realized that many viewers were taking cues from characters like Tony Soprano or Walter White, and he wanted to flip the script and explore someone who genuinely tries to do good. This desire to create a character who is innately good but still relatable led to the early conception of what would become Carol Sturka. Interestingly, the original idea was for a male character, someone who hadn't done anything particularly heroic, but was treated exceptionally well by others. The concept fascinated Gilligan because it was a complete reversal of the kind of anti-hero narratives he had grown known for. The turning point in shaping Carol Sturka came after Gilligan met Rhea Seehorn, who he had previously worked with on Better Call Saul. He decided to mold the character around her, leading to Carol's creation as a woman who is both witty and deeply flawed, but also determined to save the world when no one else is willing to step up. While Carol is focused on her mission, she is not immune to shortcomings. She is sarcastic, sometimes negative, and generally self-critical, traits that Gilligan admitted he recognized in himself. He said that creating her allowed him to put some of his own personality into a character, particularly his sarcasm, cynicism, and moments of misanthropy. This blend of traits gives Carol a sense of realism, making her feel like a person rather than just a story device. To make Carol even more authentic, Gilligan decided to make her a writer. This choice reflected his own experiences and challenges as a storyteller and allowed him to explore the professional world of authorship. He considered making her a screenwriter, but given his familiarity with that field, it felt too close to home and potentially less entertaining. Instead, he decided to make her a romance novelist, which added both charm and humor to the story. He explained that placing someone like Carol, a romance writer, into a world-saving role is ironic and entertaining. The world often expects heroic figures like Liam Neeson or Tom Cruise characters to take charge, but having someone whose daily life revolves around writing love stories take on the fate of humanity creates both tension and comedy. Romance authors, in Gilligan's view, seem more colorful, fun, and interesting, which made the character of Carol feel vibrant even when she herself was cynical. In the show, Carol Sturka is revealed to be the author of Bloodsong of Wycaro, a novel about a woman navigating dangerous challenges while falling in love with a pirate. The book is part of a series, and it has garnered a significant following. Despite the popularity of her novels, Carol herself does not hold them in high regard. She often describes them as trash and seems perplexed that so many fans enjoy her work. This attitude reveals her self-loathing and her critical perspective on the world, which contrasts sharply with the excitement and romance her stories bring to her readers. This contrast adds depth to Carol's character, showing that even someone who doubts the value of their own work can still have a strong sense of responsibility and courage when faced with a crisis. It's important to clarify for fans who might wonder if Carol Sturka is based on a real person. She is entirely fictional. No real author named Carol Sturka exists, and Bloodsong of Wycaro is not a real novel outside of the Pluribus universe. The character and her work were created purely for the narrative of the show, designed to reflect Gilligan's idea of a character who is both grounded in reality and capable of extraordinary action. Her fictional authorship also serves as a clever commentary on storytelling itself, how someone who writes fantastical tales can become the hero of a story that is fantastical in its own right. Carol's personality and profession work together to create a unique tension in Pluribus. On one hand, she is cynical and skeptical, often mocking the world and herself. On the other hand, she carries the weight of saving humanity, making her someone who cannot ignore her responsibility. This duality makes her relatable to viewers because it reflects real life complexity. People often criticize themselves while still stepping up when it truly matters. The humor, sarcasm, and occasional bitterness she displays are counterbalanced by her courage and determination, making her one of Gilligan's most multifaceted characters. Moreover, the use of a fictional book series within the show is a storytelling device that serves multiple purposes. It allows the audience to glimpse Carol's creative mind and to understand the themes she explores in her own fictional world. At the same time, it provides comic relief, as the gap between Carol's perception of her work and the fan enthusiasm creates humorous moments. Her disdain for her novels mirrors her personal dissatisfaction with the world around her, emphasizing the idea that even those who seem successful externally can struggle with internal conflict. The ironic twist of Carol's character is that she embodies the very heroism and bravery she might have dismissed in her own books. While her novels feature protagonists overcoming obstacles and fighting for love, Carol herself faces real, world stakes that demand action, intelligence, and resilience. Her journey highlights the contrast between fiction and reality, showing that heroism does not always look glamorous, and that the person who seems least likely to save the world can become the most crucial player in it. Vince Gilligan's choice to make Carol a romance novelist also speaks to broader themes in Pluribus. By placing an everyday profession in an extraordinary situation, The show comments on how heroism is often hidden in ordinary lives. Romance writers, in Gilligan's mind, are creative, perceptive, and imaginative, qualities that are essential when confronting a world that seems incomprehensibly happy or dangerous. Carol's professional background becomes a tool that enhances the story, making her approach to problem-solving different from a conventional action hero. Her ability to think in unconventional ways, often influenced by her experience creating fictional worlds, allows her to navigate the series' challenges more effectively. In many ways, Carol Sturka represents a new type of protagonist for Vince Gilligan. She is neither an anti-hero nor a traditional hero. Instead, she is a realistic, flawed, yet determined individual who acts out of responsibility rather than desire for recognition or glory. Her sarcasm, negativity, and grumpiness are balanced by intelligence, creativity, and an underlying moral compass that drives her actions. These traits make her a refreshing departure from typical TV heroes, aligning with Gilligan's goal of creating a character who is relatable, flawed, and capable of extraordinary feats. The fact that Carol is not based on a real author, and that Bloodsong of Wycaro is not a real novel, does not detract from the immersive quality of the show. Instead, it allows the creators to explore imaginative scenarios without being tied to reality, giving the audience the freedom to experience a world where a romance novelist becomes the unlikely savior of humanity. This blend of fiction within fiction, the show itself, Carol's novels, and her personal journey, creates a layered narrative that engages viewers on multiple levels, combining humor, drama, and philosophical reflection. Ultimately, Carol Sturka's character is a brilliant example of Vince Gilligan's ability to subvert expectations. By making her both ordinary and extraordinary, flawed and heroic, he crafts a character that audiences can connect with deeply. Pluribus uses Carol's cynicism, creativity, and reluctant heroism to explore what it truly means to save the world, emphasizing that heroism is not about perfection, but about courage, commitment, and the willingness to act when it counts. Her fictional novels, her self-critical attitude, and her professional background all serve as extensions of this theme, highlighting the complexity and richness of her character. In conclusion, Carol Sturka is entirely fictional, and her novel Bloodsong of Wycaro exists only within the world of Pluribus. Her character embodies Vince Gilligan's creative intent to explore heroism through a lens that is humorous, ironic, and deeply human. She challenges the traditional notions of who can be a hero, proving that someone who seems unlikely, grumpy, or self-critical can still rise to the occasion. By blending everyday traits with extraordinary circumstances, Pluribus creates a narrative that is both entertaining and thought-provoking, making Carol Sturka one of the most memorable characters in recent TV history.